All right.
Oh, man.
Back in the Heimer.
Yes. Welcome, everyone.
Hey.
I'm John.
Jacob.
And this is the Heimer.
Great to have you with us.
Back with us, yeah.
Yes. Special thanks, as always, to our producer, Schmidt. Doing a lot of work behind the scenes.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if we'll ever get Schmidt on to interview or anything.
Maybe one day, yeah. I don't know. I wonder if he's camera shy.
Yeah, he might. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, also, yeah. He's been organizing all these guests we've been having on lately.
That's right. Yeah. All right, so what do we got today?
We're doing happiness. So we did happiness before. That was our first episode, right?
Yeah.
And so we're going to do part 2 today.
Possibly the most important thing to talk about.
Yeah.
And to work on. So.
Yeah. We were having some of our listeners were coming up to us and almost continuing the conversation with us. And so we thought, well, why don't we just make another episode about it?
Yeah.
And let everybody else hear what we're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a very broad topic, and it changes, evolves. But I'm very thankful to be talking about it with you and kind of hashing out some of these ideas. And yeah, so I feel like the last time we talked about like basically what makes us happy, what are the sort of the key components of happiness. But
yeah,
we didn't dive too deep into any of that.
We didn't dive too deep. We were rating each other's happiness, like we were kind of saying that on a scale of 1 to 100.
Yes, right.
And so I don't know if you wanted to start there.
Sure. Yeah. I was kind of watching the weather a little bit because it's been raining today, and I was hoping it didn't. I don't know. I hope the lighting isn't messed up with us or anything here.
Oh,
that doesn't mess up.
Yeah.
Any of the lighting.
Yeah, I wonder.
Wait. Oh.
Hey.
Oh. Whoa.
Hey.
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, we have a guest,
Hey.
Carolyn, with us today.
All right.
And she's going to help us talk about happiness.
Did you set this up, John? Did you know she was coming?
Well, Schmidt did.
Schmidt
Might have whispered a little something in my ear.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, good. So tell us, what is the secret to happiness?
So I watched your first podcast, The Unhappiness. And I don't have any secrets, but I was wondering if you can feel happiness in a moment, or if it's definitely in retrospect, you go, that was happiness. Or if you go, oh, like, I'm excited or I'm anxious, but then it all bundles into happiness. You don't remember those micro feelings. It was just something I thought about.
Yeah, so something, you're in the moment, you're experiencing something. Are you interpreting that at that moment as happiness?
Mm-hmm.
I bet we struggle with that a lot because so many of us are not in the moment.
Right.
In general, we're thinking about the next thing.
Absolutely. Like, you're trying to think of the next joke, or like you notice that people are maybe they're talking more than you, or they're being funnier than you, so you're thinking, what can I say next? Even though you're laughing, you're going, what can I say that's more relevant or funnier so that we can continue laughing? You don't want to drop the moment. So I was wondering, can you feel happy, or is it really
Are you anxious at that moment?
Yeah, you're anxious, but then you look back at pictures where you're laughing and you're like, oh my gosh, we were so happy.
That's a great point.
I think pictures are it almost is it could be a bad representation of what was actually happening at that moment in your own mind.
Yeah. Could replace a memory.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes maybe not having photos is a good way. I guess it depends on your outlook on life, but if, like you travel with your family to the Grand Canyon when you're a kid or something, how do you perceive that? Do you remember your parents fighting about it being hot and there's nothing to eat or whatever? Or do you remember the beauty of the Grand Canyon? And over time, you can create that memory sort of how you want.
Right. And you can remember the road trip being super long, but you don't have pictures in the car. You have pictures just of the happy moments.
Yeah.
So if you had pictures of fighting with your brothers and sisters and you go, oh, that was miserable, but you don't take pictures of those moments. You take pictures of the happy moments. So is everything remembered happy by the pictures? But if you just depended on your memory, you would remember those fights and you'd remember the hot car.
Yeah. Huh.
Okay, so we create these interpretations of our past and how we interpret how happy we were. And so do you think that we can almost force ourselves to be happy by just interpreting past memories?
That's a good question. Because that's what people do on social media. I'm not sure if you're aware, but on Instagram, people just post the happy stuff. So even when I go back through my feed, I go, oh my gosh, what a beautiful picture. It was a beautiful day of my dog just in that moment. But I'm creating like this perfect feed, and people are looking at this perfect feed, but I'm not posting the, messy rooms and stuff. So I'm almost controlling that narrative on Instagram. And you could do that at the same thing in your own personal, just delete your bad pictures,
Delete the photo of you guys fighting in the back seat on your way to the Grand Canyon.
Or you've taken a picture of a group of people, and one person's like glaring at you. So when we take pictures at like weddings and people are over it. People are like, I'm done with you, photographer. They like, you could see it on their face that they're tired. You go, I'm not including that one. Because, you can see it on their face that they're over these pictures. So it's almost like you could do that in your own personal. Like you're saying, you can control this.
Yeah. And so how do you think personally that affects your current situation? So you're looking back and now you're reflecting back and how you are in your current life. How does that affect you?
Almost like you've already peaked in happiness and you can't get back there. Like you're almost comparing to something that never happened, and you almost feel like you can't go back up because it's never as happy. Is that what you're saying? For me personally,
perhaps, I don't know.
For me personally,
I bet that's true of a lot of people. That
it kind of is logical, right?
Yeah, you go back to maybe college time, or like your early 20s or whatever points those are, and that's what you can't quite hold that standard in a lot of ways.
But this is interesting because when I was in college, I didn't have a smartphone. I was actually kind of behind. So when you did take pictures, it was for an event or it was for something fun. But now we have it with us all the time. So you could take a picture in any moment when it's not so fun. So I wonder if it affected people when they only brought their cameras, like in older generations, if they kind of remembered things differently than us too. Because we could take a picture at any time, any day.
Yeah. Does taking pictures within a ordinary event make it a special event because you have a snippet in time and where you've created happiness for yourself. You've created this story of happiness, and now it's almost become a more significant event.
I think you could build up a moment that would have been ordinary and forgotten. I think that's a good point.
And there's some value to that. It's what we're saying, right? But also you want to be authentic in life too. So I'm not sure where that line is.
Where's the line? Where's the balance there?
I mean, with social media, many, like you're saying with Instagram, but thinking about Facebook and other things, it looks like some people are just living the life. They're so happy.
Right.
And then out of the blue, sometimes you hear about somebody having huge bout of depression and they're hospitalized or something. And you're like, where did that come from?
Right.
So it's this false impression that everybody has. I guess that maybe there's some value, and I know everybody says this, but like just putting away our devices more often, just like turning them off for a whole Saturday or whatever. Well, okay, so that's a whole section to talk about. Yeah. What other components of happiness, like for you, where do you find happiness?
I find happiness when I'm outside with plants. And when I feel like I'm learning or progressing. I don't like the feeling of, I guess, mundane, even like, even when in situations when I'm supposed to be learning in math, if I wasn't doodling or if I wasn't making my notebook or my notes or even my textbooks, if I wasn't making it look nice, it felt like I was almost like just a zombie or just sitting there. So if I can just create or do something interesting, that's what I like. I don't like boring or mundane. So that's I think I'm happiest when I'm creating or learning.
Where else? So you've done this in your notebook. Where else do you find yourself doing this in mundane tasks?
Okay, so like mowing the lawn.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So when you're mowing the lawn, it's interesting because my husband, super methodical. When we were planting, I'm going to get back to mowing the lawn, but when we were planting flowers, he had a flat of flowers. I had a flat of flowers. Mine looked natural, I had swaths of color, and his was in a row. And it's so interesting because when he mows the lawn, it's the same lines, like almost, I'm not even sure if that's good for the grass, but it was like the same lines. He goes up the same. When I do it, I try to do a box, and I try to make that box smaller, and I try to go down like a spiral. And then next time I'll do a diagonal, and I'll try to see the most, like, maybe efficient way to do it, or the most, like, I'm trying to learn how to mow my lawn, but maybe I'll make this, and go, maybe I should start the corner next time. So I'm always doing it different. So even in something mundane, it's like, I get that, and I use it like a tool, and doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything to my neighbors or me, but it's fun. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I come up with for mundane.
Yeah.
Do you do the same or no?
No, but that sounds
for real?
so interesting, and I feel like maybe I should try to make more fun out of the mundane.
Oh, that
Because
is
it's
so
things you have
cool.
to do.
Right.
Washing the dishes. Laundry, household kind of stuff we all do.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself when you're doing these things understanding or observing the details more of something? I guess, okay, what I'm trying to get to is, are you more living in the moment at that time because you are more concentrated on being creative?
I think I'm taking myself out of the moment.
Taking
That is
yourself out of the moment.
interesting. I think I'm trying to make it something. I mean, this sounds so strange, but it's almost like making it something that it's not. Like almost making it a game when it's like, no, it's a chore, it's a task. What do you think? I mean, do you think it's like, I don't know. Do you agree or no?
Is it like a little bit of a coping mechanism?
It's
in a way?
possible, right?
Like you're just sort of allowing yourself to not feel stuck in a sort of a rut with doing whatever task.
Right. Like, it's hot. There's bugs out here. Because I'm making it a game, I'm dealing with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Jacob, do you find yourself doing any of this
Yeah.
kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I do, like a lot of us, I listen to music a lot, and I multitask. So a lot of the mundane tasks, they're still mundane, but I might be doing a couple things at once. I'll talk to my mom on the phone or something like that when I'm doing the dishes, and so that takes away a little bit of that feeling, but I don't know that it gets me towards happiness exactly.
Okay.
It's more of just sort of making it by and not feeling a low spot. Exactly. But how for you guys, how related to that, when do you feel like the absolute happiness? I don't mean like what time in life or a certain event, but I mean week to week in your daily life, what are the things that bring you the most joy?
Okay. So to answer this question, did you have something?
Go ahead.
Okay. I know I dance when, like, if I'm excited, I'll like dance, and I know that that's when I'm like eating something I really like a treat, or if I'm about to do something fun, it's like I get excited for it, but that's like excitement, that's not happiness. So I'm trying to think through. It's like I dance when
how is excitement and happiness different?
I know, exactly, because that's what I think, like the memory of being excited would be happiness. Like I don't think you could feel happy in the moment. That's what I was thinking about when I watched your first episode.
Yeah, sure, no.
I was thinking, I don't think you can feel happy. It's either like excited, or you could be elated, or you could be relaxed, but are you ever happy? I think happy is a bundle of things. Even like bad stuff could be in there, but I think it's a bundle of good feelings and bad feelings.
So more of like a whole picture, sort
that's
of.
That's what I feel like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you briefly mentioned reaching some sort of goal. Is that right?
Okay, for
and
what?
So being learning.
Learning, yes.
When we were talking about learning, right?
Right.
Gardening.
Yes.
That's not necessarily efficiencies.
Yeah.
That's part of happiness. Being efficient.
I know, right? Doesn't that sound weird?
Yeah. But looking back on it, it's like, yes, I was efficient. That
I learned something.
made me happy.
Yeah, that's like in the moment. But looking back on it, I guess I wouldn't be happy. In the moment, I just feel good.
Achieving something.
Oh man, that's what you said in the first episode.
Yeah.
You said that.
Did I?
It's been a while. Yeah, I didn't remember. Good memory.
You did.
Well,
you said you make goals.
I make goals, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
yeah,
right.
this is coming back. Yeah, I was it Confucius. It might have been Nietzsche. He was one of those philosophers that basically said, like, hard work is the greatest joy. And
Joy.
Yeah.
Perfect word.
and I thought, like, most of my life, like growing up, when I heard that quote, I think my dad told me that. Like, I thought that's the craziest. Doesn't make any sense to me. It didn't sit at all.
Right.
But as I age, I start to, I'm still thinking about it, but there's a lot more truth to that than I realized when I was younger. But goals and achievement, to some degree, are a part of that, part of that hard work.
Do you think it's because when you were younger and you thought of hard work, we picture somebody on the railroad and you go, that's not fun. But then when you relate it to your work or something that you like you're hiking, that's work. But I guess, like, the harder it is, the more accomplished you feel. I don't know. I think it's like by defining hard work, it would be easier to figure out that quote. Because, like, still, even now, that almost sounds crazy. You know what I mean? Because I think naps sound amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that comes back to the relax, right? You're relaxing. But, like, it's what are you relaxing from, perhaps, that makes it more happy? Because if you're just napping to nap, and
Exactly.
you're not tired, maybe you have nothing to do, and you're like, okay, maybe I'll just take a nap.
But being exhausted after something fulfilling, that's the best kind of nap or relaxation. So I didn't work for almost a whole year, and it felt terrible to sit down. Like, it felt almost like, what am I doing? My hours are going by. But now when I sit down, because I have a new job and I work at a garden center, it feels so good to sit down, and it's like a reward. So the relaxing is the part of the reward, and that's happiness too.
Right. So it's almost like relaxing a year ago was more just reminding you about, I shouldn't be here. Like, this is, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
I need to be doing something. But relaxing after you have a job and you're doing something, working hard towards something, it's more rewarding that way.
Yeah, that's interesting. So the hard work caused the relaxation. Yeah.
Maybe that's something that's missing for a lot of people as far as happiness, is that they don't have meaningful work.
Okay.
They're doing work that they have no ownership over. They're just sort of a slave to this machine. And they're, so when they do sit down at the end of the day, they're feeling no satisfaction out of that.
Right.
And so, because it's hard to find meaningful work. There's a lot of people. I mean, it feels like 80% or something of people that aren't satisfied with their work.
Right. And so therefore that quote would mean nothing to them, because they're like, I'm working hard for what?
Yeah.
So let's go back to how do you feel happiness within like a week, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I was going to say was that lately, it has been it's spring now, and the weather's getting so nice, and that is actually making me very happy. And I find myself dancing around the house and just like blasting music now.
Nice.
And which was like a complete change to how I was a month ago.
This is interesting.
It was like the weather.
It's
the
weather.
weather is making me happy.
The environment.
The environment, yeah.
Do you open your windows?
New life. Oh yeah, windows are open. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, just all the new life that's coming out in nature.
You see frogs again when you forgot that frogs existed in the winter.
Yeah.
And it's like you're discovering things for the first time again.
Oh, is that a bird? Huh.
Right. Oh, where'd they go?
Well, we'll have the cicadas coming in a couple weeks. That's
they
going to be
say.
everywhere around here. So, speaking of spring,
So
that's a
loud.
7. Yeah.
A reminder of that.
Yeah.
So Jacob, how do you feel? I mean, within a week, what makes you happy? Like, how do you know that you're happy?
Yeah, I don't know for sure. I mean, one thing I've been doing the last week or two is for sort of the first time in my life, I've been sunbathing. And
Whoa!
Oh my gosh!
And I thought, like, I kind of think of that as sort of like a younger person thing, and like something that just. But I've been doing it with my son, who's 17, who is probably trying to look good for summer bathing suit time or whatever. I don't care about any of that, but he and I have been laying on our driveway sunbathing and listening to podcasts together, and all that. Like, I think it's the vitamin D production and something about that great sunshine has really kind of picked me up, which is related to the weather and the season change. It's getting all the sunshine's great.
It's amazing.
Crazy how the sun just came in right when we started.
Yes.
Good timing, Mother Nature.
Yeah, that is cool. I remember when we sunbathed in our yard. You have to put a blanket down because the grass is pokey, but the wind, when it would go over you, you almost felt like you weren't there. You almost felt like so relaxed that it was like you're just a part of it, and you don't feel that when you're walking because you're like getting somewhere. But sunbathing is so cool to slow down and just feel what's going on, and you hear stuff, and it's cool.
Yeah,
I like sunbathing.
Totally into like the feeling the ground. Yeah. You understand like the little variations in the dirt on your body and how that's affecting your body. It may hurt because you got something in your back.
Right.
And also just, your eyes are closed, so all of your other senses are being stimulated.
Yeah.
It's definitely the eyes being closed. That helps. That's a good point.
So that's just one thing, but, I confess that I struggle with, happiness sometimes week to week. I don't, it goes up and down fairly wildly for me. Some days I'm fairly low, and overall I'm a pretty happy person, month to month and year to year, but day to day it goes up and down, But I mean, I think this is one of the beautiful things about this podcast and this discussion is it's maybe the greatest thing for us to be thinking about and talking about how to sort of work towards that happiness.
Yeah. I mean, to be able to define happiness and what it is and what actually makes you happy.
Right.
You do more of that stuff.
Listening to the podcast made me think about it more because it's such a word that could be like printed or seen anywhere, but you don't think about the word happiness much.
Right, and how it's more of, like you said, perhaps it's more of a past thing, and it's more of how you're evaluating your past self.
Right.
And so, how do you be happy now?
Appreciation. I mean, something like when you see something, you appreciate it. It's like that. Is that happiness? I don't know.
Yeah.
So what are some, to this idea of goals a little bit, like what are some goals we might have? Like, maybe not a full list or anything super comprehensive on the spot, but like, can you guys mention something that you might like say want to try the next week or two to increase your level of happiness?
Yeah. I have something in my mind if you want me to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
I think I would like to work on empowering people and not making them feel like ostracized or a way of feeling like silly, because it's like many times when I'm talking to people at work, this is the thing, is I just started a job, and it's very easy to, when they're asking questions, to go, what are they talking about? And to forget that they're just asking a question and they don't expect me to know everything. They might just need that basic answer, but I'm going to give this feeling of maybe I'm looking at them weird because I'm trying to think about it. Just think about what they're saying and try to help them out and then make them feel good about what they're going to go do in their garden. That's what I would like to do. I'd like to empower people because I feel like if everyone around you is happy, then it's just kind of like a vibe. Everybody's happy. But if you kind of like feel like a little bit rub or I don't know, a little bit negativity, then everybody kind of starts getting down. So that's what I was thinking, like empower people around you. Yeah, toxic behavior. I'm not saying I'm making customers feel bad, but sometimes they ask me a question, I just stare because I'm like thinking, and it's like, wait, they just asked you a simple question. Do you know what I mean? Just answer it and don't give them the runaround.
They probably want quick answers too. They just want, or something very specific or something.
And I'm trying to think of the most obscure thing, but they just need the quick answer to help them feel like they asked a good question. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, how about you, John?
Yeah, I'm working on a lot of projects around my yard right now, in which I love. I mean, I really like being in the moment doing stuff, but a lot of the times, which I'm hoping to apply this new thing that I learned from you, Carolyn, about being creative while doing something. Like, not trying to just get it done, but maybe do something more creative while doing mundane things. So right now I'm like refinishing my porch, and it's large. You got to clean a lot of wood, and it's just it's tedious. You do the same thing over and over again throughout the whole porch.
Right.
So when you stain that, you might write like "I love Jacob" across
Aw.
the
Yes.
deck or something
Yeah.
like that. You mean that kind of create?
Listen to the Heimer. across the
Yeah, right.
Heimer.
Check out this YouTube address.
Subscribe. Like
Schmidt was here.
Schmidt was here. Yeah.
Schmidt produced this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm really excited to accomplish that, finish up those projects, and having that sense of pride at the very end. That is what I'm looking forward to, and having that I think makes me happy. Is that sense of pride. I love finishing a project and just standing there and staring at it.
Yes.
Like recently, one of the projects I did complete was I dethatched my lawn, so took out all like the old dead grass that just wasn't decomposing there. And I stood out there for probably 10 minutes just looking at it.
And don't you want to, like, if someone's walking by, you go, you gotta come see
here.
this.
Yeah. Come look at this. You can see the dirt now.
Yeah, look at that.
You could just stand out in the road and yell really loudly, "Everybody,
Come
check."
out.
Come here.
They'd be like, "Oh, it's John again," you know.
He pulled some grass out.
Always,
Oh, good.
Always have a crazy neighbor.
Yeah.
So what about you, Jacob?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, we talked about this in the podcast about hiking, and I think for me, it's going to be moving my body. I tend to feel most happy with, and I think it's generally in nature. So I think I need to be hiking this spring.
Yeah,
Nice.
Get out there.
Keep it simple. Just I need to get out in the woods and walk.
Mm-hmm.
That's it for me.
Is that something you could do in this week or next week?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, little ones every day. I walk to work and back every day.
Awesome.
But that's through neighborhoods, kind of. But on the weekends, I can definitely hike. So, yeah.
That's super impressive. How far away do you work?
Not far. It's like a 12-minute walk.
Wow.
So it's close.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. And that feels good. Even
Yeah.
a little something like that feels good. It's noticeable.